What's up mga papi? This video is just gonna be a deck profile of my virtual world deck that I've been using ever since its release. Basically, I got the deck when it was first released, and then I've been using it at locals, mostly remote duel, and I've won a lot of locals with it pretty consistently. I think there's only a couple that I didn't get first place on. So I've won several matches. This is one of them, and around 300 or something USD in stored credits. So just to give you a little bit of credibility to this profile, so let's start. This is going to be divided into three. The first one would be the virtual world engine, the second one would be consistency cards, and the next would be the hand traps. So for the engine, it's going to be, of course, mandatory 3 Lulu, 3 GG, 2 Nyan Nyan, and well, right now we have 2 so 1 2, 3 Lilies, 3 Lao Lao, and then the spells, 3 Kowloon, 3 Qinglong, 2 Chuche, and 1 Xuanwu. Now, before it was just all 3 of each. Now we're gonna have to move around a little bit. So I took out 1 Yan Yan for 1 2 because it plays practically the same role, and so I want to keep the normal summons at 3. And yeah, you can just dump this anyways. Sometimes you find yourself dumping 2 Nyan Yans. You don't need to do that anymore. You're gonna be dumping this instead. And then 2 Chuchi, 1 Xuanwu. It's a little bit tricky. I'm still playing around with this, but I think I'm getting used to it now. You just need to manage your resources right. You need to see 2 steps ahead of your play to know whether or not you should be dumping, for example, an extra trap off of Lily. So yeah, this could be something that is unusual for some people, but once you get used to it, it's definitely, I believe, the right ratio for now. I don't think it affects the grind as well, because you know, as long as you're able to shuffle back, then it's not going to be a problem. So that's the entirety of the engine, and as you know, this deck has consistency issues sometimes, so you need consistency cards. I don't have Pot of Prosperity, and I actually do prefer Pot of Desire still over that, because I like drawing 2 cards, and you know, there's obviously the argument that, you know, you see your sides better, you see 6 cards into your deck, which is a big chunk of your deck. So yes, I agree, it could be better in some instances, but we're poor, and I like drawing 2 cards instead of 1. Foolish Goods, just overall a good card, especially now that we have Xuanwu. Sometimes you don't get to dump Xuanwu if you have a good hand, and this could help out with that. And obviously it's just another name, so Italy, it's amazing because Virtual World needs a Virtual World card on the field face up, and if you get hit with punishment or a bounce or anything really, if it gets destroyed by Trident or something, you need something that's not a spell or a trap or a normal summon. If those get interrupted, then you're left with nothing. If you have this, it can literally save you, and it's just an extender as well. So, and the last card, Called by the Grave, for the consistency card. I consider this a consistency card because you know, it helps you push through hand traps. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have my talents yet, so we're not playing that yet. I might incorporate it, maybe change something up. But for the hand traps, this is gonna be 8 hand traps to make it 40. So 2 Ghost Ogres, 3 Ash, and then 3 Gamma. Now this is being switched around all the time, depending on what I feel is gonna come out of the locals. This is probably the best flex spot. I used to play 6, but I feel like you want to be able to see a hand trap going second, even if it's game 1. And with 8, you have like a 70% chance to see it, and it gives you an easier side-end pattern, right? Like if you have 8 hand traps in your main, you add 3 more to that, it bumps up your chances to like 82% in 5 cards. So yeah, this is like mandatory for me. Especially now that we have a 2-2. 2-2 basically says you can discard a Psychic or a Worm to special summon itself as a tuner. And well, if you didn't know, this is, you know, Psychics. These are Psychics, and that if you didn't have enough reasons to put this in your deck, and if you were debating if you want to take this out of your deck, well, now you have your reason. And Ash obviously hits everything. The Ogre, I like this now because it's, well, psychic, and you know, if Dragon Link is gonna be into the format, then this is gonna be good if they don't play around it. You know, if they don't do the striker LP, the LP striker play, then they're gonna have problems with that. And also, this is actually good against Virtual Worlds sometimes as well, because like if you draw one Ogre and one Gamma, you Gamma the first VFD, and even if they could get to the second VFD, they have to use a Cloud Castle and just Ogre the Cloud Castle, and they're gonna be left with like one monster. That's probably Shen Shen, and it's still a Floodgate, but you know, at least it's not VFD. So that's pretty much it for the main deck. The Ogre sometimes I swap around for Nibs, Cosmics, depends on what I'm expecting. And then the extra deck. Again, this is Zeus-less, because my Zeus has not arrived yet. It's gonna be here in like a week or two. And yeah, this is definitely gonna change once my Zeus is in. But I have been winning without the Zeus, so that's just gonna be another improvement. Juju. This is extremely good if your opponent has no outs to it, because like this is basically indestructible by battle or card effect. So for example, Eldritch, if they don't have the Golden Lord or a trap in hand to use to be able to send this, then they're just gonna be stuck with this, and you can wait to recover some resources and generate more advantage before you push for game. And Stardust for the draw. Coral, some people have been cutting Coral, and that's understandable. This comes up way more often, but again, I don't have Zeus yet, so this might get cut soon. We'll see. And then the level 9s, of course, Shen Shen. 2 Clouds, 1 Crocosaur, Verm, absolutely mandatory, and then Chao Feng. I feel like 2 Clouds is really good. I find myself reviving Verm a lot for spot removal. So you like Verm, force an interruption, you Cloud to summon out the Verm, and then Verm gets to pop another one because it's not once per turn. And yeah, I think it's really cool. And you still get to end a VFD with that. Chao Feng obviously is really good. I've had this before, even before Nesh. Shout out to Nesh, much respect to Nesh, but I've already found this out before he did. Or, well, maybe not before he did, but before he popularized it. And it literally says, get a tuner from your deck. So, that's just an insanely good card. Yeah. The routes have changed sometimes with the release of Xuanwu and Tutu. So this is still very viable, and this is just even more valuable now because Qinglong and Lily is gonna be double VFD with add back of Lulu. That's basically full setup. So yeah. Next, the XCs, playing 75, of course. A lot of people before didn't play this. I'm like, why? This is your protection from Nib. Sometimes you can't go double VFD, but you can go 75 plus VFD, and you can do this before your 5th or as your 5th summon, and that's just really good. Protect yourself from interruption. And then Fan, always have this in your deck. This is way too good. It forces out plays from Eldritch players. If they don't have 2 lords, you can just banish one of their lords, or if they have 1 lord on the field and on the graveyard, then you can just banish both of them if they don't have the Sanguine to interact with you, and that's going to be extremely good against Eldritch. Do not cut this ever. M7, I don't think you should ever cut this as well. This is really good. You can just set up M7 and VFD if you feel like you're going up against a trap deck or something like that. If you had to use, let's say, Ash for your combo, if you had to normal summon Ash, you can just get it back before you end your turn. And again, it's just a spot removal, gets resources back. You can overlay Zeus on top of this if this attacks. Extremely good. Also, if you use Droll or Lancia or practically any hand trap, you can just use this to get it back, and then you're able to use it again. Like, how fun is that? And then Beyond, I keep this in because I want to be able to have an out to Dragoon. This at the very least forces out Dragoon if you can't bait their negates. And then the last 2, True King of all Calamities. Nothing to say there. You know who this is. You know what it does. And that's pretty much it for the deck profile. But I'm not gonna do the side because the side basically changes a lot. There's gonna be like Cosmics, Imperial Order, Kaijus sometimes, Nibiru's of course mandatory. But before we end, I am going to show you some cards that you can actually use if you want to be creative with the deck. There's several variants of the deck. This is going to be another one of them. You can use Beast of the Pharaoh and Gotham, so you only need one. I'm just showing two. This is an extremely good card, honestly. If you are already comboing and you get the normal summon this and synchro with it, it's ridiculous. It just summons itself back infinite times, and then you can go, like I said, infinitely synchro summon practically, and then you can just go Gothams and activate Gothams to rip one from your opponent's hand. And that sometimes forces out interruptions because, you know, they have to interact. They might lose their hand trap if they have nib and they haven't nibbed you yet. They might have to drop it there. So if you still had Lala in your hand, then you're good to go. So I think it's a cool variant. I've been playing around with it, but obviously it's more fragile. It dies more easily to hand traps, but it's pretty cool. It's nice to have another variant available if, for example, VFD gets banned. Next. Oh, okay. So Enter Blathnir. This is part of the hand loop variant. Sometimes you end on 2 level 9s, like 2 cloud castles after you hand loop them for 3, and then you can just overlay into this to banish one more from their hand. So basically that's a hand loop for 4. But obviously if VFD is still alive, then the 2 cloud castles are going to go into VFD. So, you know, I'm just saying, if VFD gets banned, you can hand loop for 4. Dianthus and Nothung. Nothung is the better option here. These two are going to be your best friend when it comes into time. I've been using this before because I didn't have access to Nothung yet, but obviously Nothung is the better option. This needs 3 level 3s, so I mean it's pretty good if you don't have access to this, but if you have access to this, then just play this. It's a level 6 synchro, generic, and it burns for 800 when you summon it, and after that you can just use it to sink into 9. Really cool stuff, just so you have place for time. Next. This is the other variant that I've been toying around with ever since the beginning as well. I was actually thinking about this a lot. You can go Ultimaya with 2 level 6s. Obviously one has to be a tuner, and then you can set a card, a Qinglong, Talents, Chuche, to summon out Crystal Wing. This is going to be way easier to do now, especially with the release of Tutu. So you can probably get the Crystal Wing on your 5th summon, or sometimes even before. So that protects you from Nibiru or any other hand trap. And then if you can go get into another Synchro 6, that's going to be Muddy Mad Dragon, and you can use Ultimaya and Muddy. Muddy is going to be subbed in for Dark Magician, and you can get to Dragoon. Now, I'm not sure I prefer this over having a Shen Shen, which is a Floodgate. We'll see, I guess, if the format develops some way, if VFD gets banned or something like that. That could be a cool play, because, like, well, this is kind of a Floodgate in and of itself, because some decks just can't out it, but, you know, Macrocosmos and Field is pretty good. Next, if you didn't want to go for Dragoon, Muddy Mud Dragon is actually a dark, non-tuner dragon. So if you wanted to leave this and you didn't want to go for Dragoon, or if Dragoon gets banned, then you can just use another level 3 tuner and go for Hot Red. Really good. I mean, this is seeing play in Dragon Links these days because of a Synchro 8 plus Rocket Synchron, but you can do this with your deck as well. Now, for some other cards, these two. I've been using this for a while back when I didn't have Foolish Goods yet. This is cool. You can get into Bamboozling really easily because you know, this is basically a free summon. Then you search this and you special summon this because you have a wind, and that's basically a rank 3 or just 2 level 3s. If you have a normal summon Ash or something like that, you can go into Croc, and that's gonna draw you 2 cards. Sometimes that helps you, and you know, you can just go into Shenshin if you wanted to as well. So, you know, it's a cool option to have, but I cut it because I want to see names, not extenders that are generic. Jaja, some people run this for Dragoon, but like, I don't know, I don't feel too good about that. I'd rather go Fortune Tune or something. And then we have Totem Bird, Photon, Shark Bouncer, and this. Not recommended, but if you're on a budget, you don't have access to the other cards, I mean, why not, I guess. Spell Trap Negation, Monster Negation, but only on the field. And then this guy, I cut this, I used to run this before. My Fortune Tune is also coming in, so I think, yeah, that's just a better option. This is cool though, going second if you have Qinglong, try to negate something, and then you can pop Qinglong and one other card of your opponent, so just forces out some interruptions. And then the last three, Gaia for Zeus, Riptide, and Final Sigma. Riptide is almost always going to be live. I used to run this, but I felt like it was too gimmicky. It's just weird. You just have other better options. But you know, in case again VFD gets banned, just know that you can use this because it's generic. And Final Sigma, for those of you that don't know what this does, it's practically unaffected by anything if it's in your EMZ. So you can use this to swing for damage. Some people don't know what it does, and if they don't, then they try to activate some effects targeting this, then you know, you're in luck. But I don't count on people being bad at the game. I want to be able to play better cards, so yeah, right now there's better cards, so just play the better cards. But just in case something happens on the ban list, again, you have this option. So that will be it for the video. The deck is extremely good. As I said, there's a lot of lines that have opened up, and the deck is just so much more resilient to hand traps now. Obviously it can still lose to itself, but it is what it is. You break sometimes, sometimes you don't. And that will be it for the video. I'll see you on the next one. Have a nice day.